Well, it has been quite some time since I made regular content for this channel. I recorded a random rant recently because I just needed to vent, because there is a lot that has been going on in my life that quite honestly may be affecting me to my very core. Oh, I gotta put on the royal jewelry. They're just Mardi Gras beads, but I figured they fit with the king outfit. Before we get into the topic of the video, please consider supporting the channel and any of the ways given as guidance by the banner at the bottom of the screen. As of the time of recording this video on August 23rd, 2025, I have finally received some of my merchandise shirts in the mail, and I am presently wearing the "Our Environment is Doomed" t-shirt featuring the caffeinated Biagato on it. And on Monday, August 25th, I am supposed to, according to the tracking on my phone, get the second shirt that I ordered. But I ordered those shirts like a month ago. It did not ship nearly as fast as I would have liked, so buyer beware if you choose to support the channel in such a manner. Today is going to be a Shedding Tears episode, specifically about Marvel, although specifically I wish to tier rank all of the various Marvel movies and television/animated series. One thing that I am learning by doing this YouTube thing on the regular is that I kind of have to let my perfectionist tendencies slide to the wayside sometimes. This is not everything. It is not every series that Marvel has ever produced, but my brother and I, over the years, primarily because my brother is very much into Spider-Man.
Hey guys, it's me, Spider-Man.
And has been for a long time, has led me and him, the both of us, to watch a lot of the Marvel content, if for nothing else but research purposes, because as I have discussed in previous Marvel related and Marvel adjacent videos that I have released in the past, my brother and I have our own custom continuity for Marvel that we have spent an inordinate amount of time writing about, and part of the building process for that, if we call it such, has been to watch all of the pre-existent Marvel media and then not really write formal reviews, but, you know, we'll write down our thoughts in our master guide document, just so we have some written record of our thoughts on any given piece of Marvel media that we have consumed.
The fire truck can consume.
So let me bring that up. There are plenty of Marvel media tier lists on tierlistmaker.com. I'm not going to specifically link this particular tier list because, as you see, this is a single-use tier list that I created and am technically providing the icon images for. And I drafted up a bunch of different tiers. The explanations should speak for themselves, but I will obviously commentate as to my disposition regarding the quality of any given piece of media as we go through it. So how exactly am I gonna do this? I think I'm just gonna fly by the seat of my pants here, and I'll just cover things as they come. I'm not a professional YouTuber, guys. If you have watched for long enough, you know that. Okay, I'm just gonna start off with some obvious ones. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2 and Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1 are both goated. As far as I'm concerned, if it goes into goated, I consider it to be in the same conversation as other regular movies, non-superhero movies. And I do believe that Spider-Man 2 is superior to Spider-Man 1. Not by much, but when you're up in this tier, it really doesn't matter a whole lot because they're so clear and away above most of the rest of the things that I will be ranking. I guess while we're on the subject, Logan is one of those special movies. I could recommend Logan to any person regardless of age, regardless of their individual tastes. I think the only reason I'm putting it above Spider-Man 2 is because I feel like the stylings of Logan have a wider appeal to a mature audience. That's not to say Spider-Man 2 is not appealing to a mature audience, but I just can't shake the feeling that Logan Logan is the best. I'm just gonna give this one a spot already. I have never seen Big Hero 6, but technically it belongs to the Marvel Universe in some vague respect. I think most people think of it as a Disney animated film first and foremost, but technically the Big Hero 6 team is the superhero team for, at the very least, Japan. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I don't have very much experience and understanding of Japan within the Marvel lore macrocosm context, and so I'm interested in watching it because not only did I hear that it was mostly good, I think I heard there was like something negative about the twist, but I'm interested. And yes, I will be ranking the things that I have not watched, but not in terms of their quality, just in terms of how interested I am in actually consuming them. Yeah, that's the list of all the things that I'm going to be ranking in this video, so if you see it and are in any way interested in hearing my opinion, stick around, watch the video. Okay, Howard the Duck, the character interests me probably more than he probably should, but the Howard the Duck movie, I'm not gonna waste my time trying to tell you how bad it is. Everyone has talked about that. I think there are things that it did, small things, specifically the part about Howard becoming like a record producer of some kind, that I do think make the Howard the Duck character more interesting, but from what I have read of the Howard the Duck original comics that my brother also marathoned, I think that was entirely original to that movie. I think technically this came out before Howard the Duck, but the Dolph Lundgren Punisher, I think it was mildly better than Howard the Duck, but that's only because it was like an action movie. It was really, really stupid, but I don't hold it in total contempt. I can say though, the first Captain America made-for-TV movie was awful. Like, even worse than Howard the Duck awful. But at the same time, I would say that Captain America 2, Death Too Soon, if you haven't watched it, I mean, it's not good, I wouldn't recommend it, but it was at least entertaining. I remember some of the stupid sequences in Captain America 2, Death Too Soon, far more than I remember anything from that first Punisher movie. The original Fantastic Four movie is also incredibly bad, but it's also really funny. It has by far the best incarnation of Doctor Doom from any piece of media that I have seen otherwise. As I mentioned before, me and my brother are quite fond of Spider-Man. So, for that reason, if for that reason alone and nothing else, the first Spider-Man live-action made-for-TV series that got turned into several movies goes over Captain America made-for-TV, the first one. If you've never watched it, some of it is just so blatantly ludicrous. Honestly, though, the second one, I don't even remember, and I can't say the same for the first Captain America made-for-TV movie. All I know is that Spider-Man The Dragon's Challenge, I believe it was called, was quite funny. All I remember is that there is a scene at an airport at some point towards the climax of Spider-Man The Dragon's Challenge that my brother and I think is very funny. Okay, Blade 1. Blade 1 is rather mediocre. I know that's probably going to draw ire from people if this video, Hold Your Laughter, manages to gain any sort of traction in the YouTube algorithm, but Blade 1 is only memorable for like one or two scenes or lines. Like, it ain't that great. Blade 2, I would actually put under Blade 1. I'll just do all the Blade stuff at the same time, I guess. Blade 3, Blade Trinity, was by far the worst of the Blade movies. Well, I would actually put it back down in trash. It was that bad. But as much as people disliked Ryan Reynolds' portrayal of Hannibal King,
I don't like you. You never did.
it was okay. They totally squandered the death of Abraham Whistler. Oh, now I know why I'm putting it over The Punisher, because Jessica Biel wore a midriff-bearing top for pretty much the whole movie. The 2000s were a better time in many ways. The Blade show? How do I even rank this? I mean, honestly, that might be the worst thing that we've gone over so far. This tier list is subject to change both within this video and in the future. I could always come back and redo this tier list if my thoughts change in a substantial enough way. The Blade anime, though, was actually kind of good. I won't say it was better than the straight to VHS Fantastic Four film, but it wasn't as bad as Captain America 2 Death Too Soon. And just as a minor spoiler for the rest of my rankings, I think the Blade season / Blade series in the Marvel anime lineup was the best one. So, okay, so the first Punisher film. I'm gonna put this one over Blade 2. The only reason I say that is because I vaguely recall the death of Frank's family by being run over on a random dock, which is more than I can say for Blade 2, which I don't remember really anything of, aside from the fact that there was like a cute vampire that decides she doesn't want to be bad anymore. Well, I mean, bad in the moral sense, not bad in the other sense. The original X-Men, it's good. I wouldn't call it great, but the original X-Men was aight. X2, on the other hand, is not goated, but in my opinion, it's probably the best non-Logan X-Men film. It also has the best X-Men character in it.
Please don't kill me. I didn't mean to harm anyone.
Now, why would people have gotten that impression? What's your name?
Wagner. Kurt Wagner.
X-Men 3 is so bad. There are parts of it that are okay. I'll say that it's better than the first Blade movie, but it ain't really much. X-Men 3 The Last Stand is correctly felt by many fans to just be the worst of the original Fox X-Men trilogy. And it's a shame too, because like half of it is actually rather good, and I have really warmed up, and I really like who they cast to play Trask, but studio mandate ruined that movie, man. Okay, Ang Lee's Hulk. I'm gonna put that above X-Men 3. There's not really a whole lot of good that I can say about it. Some of the scenes with the Hulk are pretty good, and I was really young when Ang Lee's Hulk came out. It very much, well, I shouldn't say very much, but it was one of the movies that shaped my adolescence. Fantastic Four, the 2005 first film in that duology. I'm gonna say entertaining. It's been a while since I watched it, but you can't get me to hate the first Fantastic Four. It definitely has some nostalgia boosting its ranking here, but I like it. Does anyone remember some of those magazine advertisements about Get Milk? Because I distinctly remember Fantastic Four Got Milk ads. Ghost Rider. Ghost Rider, I'm going to put above Fantastic Four. I don't really have much of an argument for it other than I prefer Ghost Rider to the Fantastic Four, but it's pretty inarguable that neither Ghost Rider nor Fantastic Four are better than the original X-Men to me. The original Iron Man is it goated? I think it is. I wouldn't put it above any of the stuff that's in goated already, but Iron Man, I feel, was kind of lightning in a bottle, and it obviously spawned the ship of Theseus behemoth that is the modern MCU, which even exists to this day, so it has to be given some kind of credit for that, both positive and negative. A lot of people are going to get mad that I didn't put this next thing in a lower tier, but honestly, I think The Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton is actually pretty good. Hate me if you like. Part of it is nostalgia, but as we'll see here soon, I think phase 1 of the MCU is where most of the strong entries in the MCU exist. I really think most of the problems that people have with The Incredible Hulk come from the fact that the MCU kind of started up while the film itself was in production still, so in order to appeal to Disney executives and investors, changes were made to the film fundamentally that kind of damaged it significantly. significantly, so I can't put it into the greats. I'm not gonna act like it's that good, but I do think Incredible Hulk deserves to get a little bit more positive credit than people typically give it. Spider-Man 3, I'm gonna put it in great. My reasoning is gonna be a little bit odd here. I can remember more lines from Spider-Man 3.
You want a staff job and you want a staff job. Anybody care about what I want?
I do.
Shut up. Get out.
Than I can remember from The Incredible Hulk. And like I said, my younger brother is a massive Spider-Man fan, and obviously I, as well as he, am a massive fan of Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. So this is another case where studio interference massively affected the overall quality of the film. But as I have said in the past, in videos I don't remember exactly, Sam Raimi and the script writing team for Spider-Man 3 were able to somehow miraculously incorporate Venom into the movie in such a way that it does not completely and utterly capsize the metaphorical ship. But they also, at the same time, did it so well that if you try to take Venom out of the movie's flow of events, it kind of has a negative effect. It's hard to really explain, but they really should just not have put Venom into Spider-Man 3 at all in the first place. But considering that they did about as good as they could have possibly done to get that done under the constraints they were under. Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. I don't remember being super duper entertained by it. I will say that I can only remember like one scene from it, and it's the one where Mr. Fantastic kind of tells off the military commander guy. I would say that objectively it is better than the Fantastic Four made for TV, made for VHS movie, but I remember more from that movie than I remember from Rise of the Silver Surfer. X-Men Origins Wolverine. This is a tough one. I know people are gonna get mad at me, but please listen to my explanation here. I'm actually gonna put it in entertaining good. Objectively, this film is terrible, but, and this is personal bias on my part, we used to rent the X-Men Origins DVD from our local library on a regular basis, and I feel like I've watched it so many times. I am more of a fan of the Hulk as a character, but X-Men Origins Wolverine has stuff like this. Which I hold in a much more entertaining regard, unironically, than I hold stuff like this.
Long before the pale religions of civilization infected humanity's soul.
Remember, I don't rehearse these videos, so this is all just off the cuff. I might have a conversation with my brother in a couple days and change my mind on all this stuff, which is going to be far in the past as you know it whenever this video eventually comes out. So, Iron Man 2, I'm just gonna arbitrarily pick. I like it more than X-Men The Last Stand, and I think the only reason I say that is because I'm clicking everywhere. I think the only reason I say that is because of the "if you can make God bleed" speech that Anton gives to Tony.
If you can make God bleed, then people will cease to believe in him. And there will be blood in the water, and the sharks will come.
I think Iron Man 2 was rushed. I'm not a particular fan of how hard they shoehorned in Nick Fury and S.H.I.E.L.D. and all of the Avengers stuff. I understand why they did it to an extent, but I do think the film suffers for it. So, and at least with Ang Lee's Hulk, the director had a vision, and the director was able to get that vision out. Was that vision necessarily a good vision? Not really so sure about that, but at least the director got to make an authentically Ang Lee style film, you know? Didn't watch this until after a lot of the stuff that we still had to cover, but Punisher Warzone, I don't remember it being very good. I remember it being funny as hell. Frank Castle literally caves a guy's face in by punching him. I'm gonna put it over the original Blade for now. You could probably make a half-decent argument to have it move above all of the things things that currently rest above it in the mediocre forgettable category, but I really only remember that Newman is in this movie, and Frank Castle caves a guy's face in by punching him super hard, and kills a bunch of gangsters with machine guns while hanging from a chandelier. I am a sucker for good dialogue, and I do not remember any good dialogue from Punisher Warzone, so actually, you know, now that I think about it, I think I'm gonna put the Punisher movie that came out before Warzone above Blade. Just because I remember the guy with all the piercings that had a previous criminal record, and I think that made for an interesting dynamic with Frank Castle and his kind of crusade. So I'm going to elevate that for now. Captain America: The First Avenger is... I don't know where I would put it. I think it's at the head of the pack in entertaining for now. I haven't watched it in a while, but like I said, phase 1 of the MCU was by far the best phase of the MCU, and I feel like it was more well constructed than Incredible Hulk, but only because Incredible Hulk was in the process of being made when the MCU shift happened, whereas Captain America: The First Avenger was made after the shift had happened, so it didn't fumble in any of that. Hopefully you understand what I'm trying to say there. The original Thor, I can't really hold in a very high regard. I'm gonna say it's better than X-Men Origins Wolverine, but I think it's weaker than the original Fantastic Four movie from 2005, I think. It's not terrible. It does have significant imperfections, but if you understand that that movie went through production hell for so long, it's kind of a miracle that it even got made in the first place. Certain YouTube channels, Braden Alberti, I believe, has kind of convinced me that they kind of ruined Jane Foster from the very first steps in the original Thor, which I think was a huge missed opportunity, and I'm kind of warming up to the Thor character over the years, and as a result, I can kind of see some of the blemishes and imperfections in the first Thor film outing with a bit more clarity now, but it's still not bad. It's just probably the most lackluster film in phase 1 of the MCU aside from Iron Man 2. And I guess I've covered all of the other phase 1 MCU films, so I guess I'll put the Avengers in great. Where do I put it? I think I'm gonna put it at top of great for now. Obviously, a minor spoiler, I think I'm gonna have other stuff outrank it in the future of this video, but I just feel like getting this out of the way. I think Into the Spider-Verse is amazing. Would I put it above Iron Man? I don't think I would. I think Into the Spider-Verse is as good as you could be without being Iron Man, or Spider-Man 1, or Spider-Man 2, or Logan. I've said this somewhere, but I honestly was not looking forward to watching Into the Spider-Verse before it came out, but man, do I love to be proven wrong. I am never happier than when I am proven wrong, and Into the Spider-Verse made me actually love Miles Morales. And prior to that movie coming out, I was so dreading what they were going to do with it. And since, as of the time of recording this video, there's only 2 movies in the Spider-Verse lexicon lineup at the moment, I'm going to drop probably my most controversial take. I really did not like Across the Spider-Verse. Obviously, I have talked about the fact that I have multiple sclerosis in videos in the past. Across the Spider-Verse actually was hard for me to watch. I thought the writing was horrible, but the visuals, which were great in Into the Spider-Verse, legitimately hampered the experience of me watching it. I had a hard time focusing and following the action throughout the runtime. And physical debilitation is a pretty damning attribute to have. Iron Man 3 is the only Iron Man film we haven't ranked yet. Honestly, this movie's pretty awful. I'm gonna put it above Howard the Duck, but only because Howard the Duck is profoundly bad. And at least the Dolph Lundgren Punisher film was moderately entertaining if forgettable, but it didn't make any major mistakes. The Trevor Slattery fake out, he's not actually the Mandarin thing in Iron Man 3, it's so unforgivable that I can't put it any higher. I would apologize, but I'm not sorry. So, the Wolverine. Honestly, that's as forgettable as you can get in that tier at the moment. I legitimately do not remember much about it, other than vague notions about the plot that me and my brother rewrote into a more sensible form for our rewritten Marvel Universe. X-Men First Class. I remember even less about that. Everyone loves this movie. I really don't understand it. I mean, it's pretty interchangeable with the Wolverine right now for me in terms of placement on this tier list, but Thor: The Dark World, I'm gonna put that under those. It's just so painfully boring. I don't really even have a whole lot to say about it other than it is so hilariously forgettable. Captain America: The Winter Soldier, which I definitely did not trip over saying just a second ago that you didn't get to see. I'm gonna put that right now at the bottom of entertaining great. And the only reason it's not going any higher is because everything above it, I think, is just that good. There are scenes in the movies above it that elevate them above it for good reason, but it's pretty obvious that Winter Soldier is one of the better MCU films. But my foot fell asleep. Guardians 1. My opinion of this movie has changed a lot. I think I'm gonna put it above the original X-Men and under the Incredible Hulk. The reason I'm gonna do that is because I personally feel as though Guardians of the Galaxy is the epicenter for the virus that is known as modern Marvel humor. Like, when Guardians of the Galaxy took off, Disney got the wrong lesson from it and basically turned everything into it. Avengers Age of Ultron, honestly, I don't remember a whole lot from this movie. I think there's like a single line of dialogue.
I know you're angry.
No, we're way past that. I could choke the life out of you and never change a shade.
I think James Spader's voice was pretty good. I think I'm just going to use it to separate Blade 1 and 2. That's just how it feels. It's definitely not as good as the original Avengers, but there's stuff in it that ain't terrible. I kind of skipped over the pre-MCU Daredevil movies. I would say that the original Daredevil was bad, but at least it was kind of entertaining. I can remember more from it that I enjoyed than Rise of the Silver Surfer. You know what? I'm gonna put it over the original Fantastic Four movie from the 90s. I've already thought about this stuff way more than I probably should. I've been recording for an hour, so this will probably be a nightmare video in the editing room. Elektra, on the other hand, was trash. I don't even remember a whole lot about it. I guess it was more competently made than Howard the Duck was. I guess there's that. I don't think Jennifer Garner's Elektra Nachos was particularly compelling, so Ant-Man. I'm gonna put it over X-Men 3: The Last Stand, only because I feel like the director for Ant-Man was able to get more of a solid grasp on their vision for the film. That said, I don't really remember a whole lot about scenes or dialogue from it. Yellow Jacket was boring. News at 11. Cassie Lang does a lot because she is so adorable, but Ant-Man does not have Scarlett Johansson changing her clothes in the backseat of Jon Favreau's car. It also doesn't have Justin Hammer. Fant Four Stick. It's so bad. Well, it wasn't hard for me to watch, and if you held a gun to my head, I'd probably rather watch Sticky Fingers play Blade again, so I'm putting Across the Spider-Verse underneath Fant Four Stick. That's right. Deadpool 1 is legitimately great. I'm gonna put it over Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I remember more about Deadpool than I do about Winter Soldier. Everything involving Dopender.
Dopender? What was that?
That was Bandhu in the trunk.
Is just great. I do think that Colossus shouldn't have reacted as he did to Gina Carano's top falling off during the third act, but aside from that, it speaks for itself. Captain America: Civil War. I'm gonna put it under Winter Soldier, but above First Avenger. Civil War is flawed in ways that Winter Soldier is not, but it mostly sticks the landing, and it has the best portrayal of the Tom Holland version of Peter Parker in the MCU by several 100,000 country miles. So Black Panther is so middling. I'm just gonna say it.
I'm gonna say the N-word.
That's racist. You can't say the N-word.
I would probably rather rewatch Thor 2, The Dark World, than I would rewatch Black Panther. They did such a good job setting up T'Challa and Wakanda within the context of Captain America Civil War that I was supremely let down when Black Panther came out. I also do not inflate the quality of Killmonger as a villain, like many so often do. Spider-Man Homecoming, it's not bad, but, you know, I guess because it did a half-decent Vulture, and because I like Spider-Man, maybe I'll put it over Ant-Man. Feel like there is a stronger skeleton inside of Iron Man 2. Like I said, I might have to revisit this list in the future, because right now I'm looking at the placement of Ang Lee's Hulk, and I'm just wondering what kind of choices I've made in my life. Deadpool 2? Nah, I'm not really a fan of this movie. It doesn't help that Cable introduces time travel, but they don't even really use it to much effect for comedic purposes if I don't remember correct. I think I'm gonna put it at the bottom of bad right now. Just based on the stuff around it, I feel like that's the correct call to make. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Honestly, this one's kind of bad. It's forgettable. I think I remember more of it than I remember stuff from the Elektra movie. And Iron Man 3 did make some pretty big blunders, but at the very least, there are a handful of good moments in Iron Man 3 that I remember that would probably have benefited a lot from massively rewriting the film. Ant-Man and the Wasp is just lame. Also, they didn't use my main man, Larry Fishburne, very well. I wasn't really particularly satisfied with the role he was given. And he's done some good stuff. If you've ever watched Predators, he can do some goofy out there stuff and also make it memorable.
Smelled you since you got here. If I can smell you, if I can hear you, they can too.
So the fact that he was kind of a footnote in the film bothers me a little bit. Also, he previously had voiced the Silver Surfer, Norrin Radd, in Fantastic Four 2, Rise of the Silver Surfer. And I currently have that above Ant-Man and the Wasp. Okay, Captain Marvel. It wasn't as bad as Four Stick or Across the Spider-Verse for me, but Captain Marvel was near the beginning of the end. Amazing Spider-Man. It's mediocre, but I'll say it's better than Homecoming, and it also has a couple of things that I do kind of remember. I saw this movie in theaters because I was growing up when it came out. All I know is
all these souls, lost and alone, I can save them. I can cure them.
And the hilariously bad, long way around the barn kind of Uncle Ben speech.
But your father lived by a philosophy, a principle, really. He believed that if you could do good things for other people, you had a moral obligation to do those things. That's what's at stake here. Not choice, responsibility.
Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance has like a single thing in it that I'm unironically positive about. I'm pretty sure it was the first film that I ever actively regretted going to the movie theater to see. But I think I would rather watch it than everything else that's in the bad trash category. Amazing Spider-Man 2, I think I'm gonna put right underneath of it. I really feel like I should demote Deadpool 2. This bad trash category is getting quite extensive. X-Men Days of Future Past, I remember it being rather forgettable, but there were a handful of moments in it that I recall. I think. I remember the after credit scene confusing the ever-loving nonsense out of me. I think I'm going to put it over everything in this tier. Hugh Jackman's performance does a lot of that heavy lifting. Well, maybe I should put it here then. X-Men Origins Wolverine is kind of a special case where I like it for reasons that I really shouldn't. X-Men Apocalypse wasn't very good. I'm just gonna drop it here. I don't remember anything about this movie other than the fact that Olivia Munn played Psylocke and had thighs for days. Doctor Strange, kind of gonna rewatch this movie at some point. Don't remember it super duper fondly, but I have kind of grown to appreciate it in some kind of limited form. I think I'm gonna put it at the top of mediocre for now. I just know that the concept of Strange not wanting to kill because of the Hippocratic Oath is really strong, and and Doctor Strange 1 has the best version of Wong. So, Thor Ragnarok, I really don't like this movie. I'm gonna put it over Blade Trinity, and I'm gonna put it over Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'll put it at the top of the trash pile. I really do not like the fact that it introduced the MCU to the plague of Taika Waititi. There are moments in Ragnarok that are fine, but I also don't know what part of that opinion that I just stated comes from my appreciation that I am growing to have for Thor as a character versus the actual film itself, which I have not watched in literal ages. Avengers, I want to put it all the way up here at the top, but I do think that it has significant flaws, but they're not uncorrectable flaws. I think I would rather rewatch it over Civil War, and I think Winter Soldier has better character dynamics and character progression, at least when factored into the fact that overall as an equation, I think there are parts of Infinity War that are lacking or significantly flawed, but it's still pretty damn good. I can't take that from it. Since I'm here, Venom, I'm not really interested in ever watching that movie. I guess maybe I want to watch it a little bit only for Riot, because I want to learn more about Riot, and I'm not saying that Riot is good in that movie. I just feel like it would motivate me to learn more about Riot in general if I watched it. X-Men Dark Phoenix was crap. Where did I put X3? So X3's right here, but I think it's a lot worse than that. I didn't even find it entertaining. I remember because I was hoping upon hope that Jennifer Lawrence's Mystique was gonna get off, and every single time I wanted them to kill her, they dodged the opportunity, and then when they finally did take her out, I was like relieved. I feel like saying that I would rather watch the Blade show than Dark Phoenix, but I would rather watch Dark Phoenix than I would watch Captain Marvel. Yeah, this bad category is getting kind of beefy. And speaking of that, I might as well just do this. Avengers Endgame was crap. Time travel ruins everything. Honestly, I would probably rather rewatch Across the Spider-Verse than I would rewatch Avengers Endgame. And that kind of hurts because I bought the 4K for Endgame just to have the parody of Infinity War and Endgame. Guardians Volume 2. Okay, let's stop knocking on everything so much. There's actually a couple moments in this movie that I remember, like Drax talking to Mantis about his family, that's actually kind of powerful.
Those pools, they remind me of a time when I took my daughter through the forgotten lakes of my homeworld. She was like you.
Disgusting.
Innocent.
I think I'm gonna put it over Fantastic Four and under Ghost Rider. Now, if you want to criticize me for that, go for it. But I'm just gonna say, if you know anything about Ghost Rider within comics, I do not say the following thing lightly. The Nicolas Cage Ghost Rider film actually makes a rather coherent and sensical origin story for Johnny Blaze and the Ghost Rider. And technically, the Ghost Rider movie, the first one, did spawn the Ghost Rider game for the PlayStation 2 and the PSP. So I'm going to give it a little bit of outside credit from what it spawned. That isn't necessarily to knock Guardians Volume 2, but this is a personal tier list of mine. And in my view, I'm going to elevate Ghost Rider over Guardians Volume 2, simply because this isn't a strictly objective film quality tier list. And yes, objective quality in films does exist. I'm not denying that it it does. I'm just saying this tier list is kind of snowball spiraling into my own personal opinions to some degree, much like my Godzilla film tier list did. The Eternals was so bad. Like, from what I understand, there were parts of Endgame that you could have included in a massively rewritten outside context, and you could have gotten a little bit of juice out of the squeeze, but The Eternals is just garbage. I remember when Twitter loved that movie so much. Okay, I have never watched Spider-Man Far From Home, but my brother is a die-hard Spider-Man fan, and he hates that movie with a passion I very rarely see in him. That said, I do want to watch it more than I want to watch Venom, just because it has Mysterio in it, and I feel like because the movie is essentially about Miles Morales and not Peter Parker, maybe I'd be able to glean some ideas about what you could do for a potential Miles Morales-centric story from it. Big Hero 6 is by far the thing I am most interested in that tier right now. I don't even know which Venom movie this is. I think that's Let There Be Carnage. I'm really not interested in watching that. All of these anime have been building up, and I'm just sick and tired of looking at them, so the Iron Man series, much like all the other anime, was pretty trash. All I remember is that the Japanese female scientist from the Stark Industries division from Japan was kind of hot, so you know what? I'll put it over Elektra for that reason and that reason alone. You're not getting much more out of me than that. Iron Man Rise of the Technovore was pretty crap. I think I would rather rewatch the Blade TV series from MTV. I feel like I've said that a lot doing this. The X-Men anime was literally only buoyed by Emma Frost's bust line and an objectively perfect Aurora Monroe Storm design. I think I would rather rewatch it than most of this stuff. I would rather rewatch it than X-Men Apocalypse, so that's just where it's gonna go, is right above it. And the Wolverine anime was awful. So much so that I think I'd rather rewatch it over X-Men Dark Phoenix, but that's literally it. I did not like any of the revised X-Men Fox timeline stuff, except for, ironically, this next one, The New Mutants. I liked it. There were some things in it, though, that really did not tickle my fancy in regards to ideological inclusions. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I think I'd rather watch it than Blade 2. I really like, Anya Taylor-Joy's Magic, I think was really good. The film really did a good job of introducing me to several characters that I actually like Mirage and Cannonball, and I would even argue Wolfsbane, but some of the changes that they made to some of those characters due to socio-cultural trends did bother me. So also, they gave Lockheed to Magic, not Kitty Pryde, and that bothers me a lot. Unreasonably so, one might even say. Shang-Chi was atrocious. My brother and I literally left the movie theater after watching Shang-Chi. We didn't even see the second after credit scene because we could not stop laughing, because they were trying to make us take it seriously that Zhu Wenwu dying was a tragic sort of thing that we were supposed to care about as an audience. So much so that even though the boss fight at the beginning of the movie was pretty interesting, or at the very least I should say entertaining, the fact that Shang-Chi was undercover kind of sort of as a chauffeur in San Francisco was rather interesting, but then everything after the bus fight just went totally downhill. And they didn't even make a joke about Asian women drivers because Aquafina crashes the bus. Marvel's Katie.
How much signal I need to cut across 8 lane? None? I turn now. Good luck, everybody else!
Okay, Spider-Man No Way Home. I'd probably rather rewatch it than I think Guardians is gonna block its ascent any further. All of the stuff in it that I liked had to do with the Amazing Spider-Man and Sam Raimi Spider-Man films. In my personal opinion, the Tom Holland variation of cinematic Spider-Man is by a wide margin the weakest live-action Spider-Man we've gotten, so So, really, the movie's just lucky that Alfred Molina and Willem Dafoe and Tobey Maguire and, to an extent, Andrew Garfield showed back up to do it in the first place. Okay, Daredevil Season 1, I don't even really know how much I even need to explain this. I think Daredevil Season 1 is goated. I'll go even so far as to say that I think, aside from the stuff that is above it in the tier list, that it's even better than the original Iron Man and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Daredevil Season 2 was a downgrade. I think John Barenthal's Punisher really elevated Season 2 of Daredevil. I think it has more flaws than Captain America Civil War. It's more flawed than the first Avenger, but I think there's more entertainment value for me personally to be found in Daredevil Season 2 versus entertainment that I can find in First Avenger. So, Season 3 though, while flawed, is flawed in ways that are less noticeable on first watch. The first time I watched it, I didn't even notice them, and it has some really damn good stuff in it. I think I'm gonna put it over everything south of Deadpool. And that's only because Deadpool is so good for what it is. They're very different things, and that's probably very apparent from this list in general. I have not seen Daredevil Born Again yet, but I'm not super interested in watching it. I would say I'm more interested in watching it, I guess, than Far From Home, Venom, and Let There Be Carnage. I'm gonna say something really controversial. I'm actually more interested in watching Morbius than I am in watching Far From Home or either of the two Venom movies that I have ranked so far. Black Widow, I kind of want to watch more than Let There Be Carnage, only because of some weird, hyper-specific personal feelings regarding it that relate to the Marvel document that my brother and I have done. It's kind of hard to explain. Basically, I'll just say this. I wrote a scene where Natasha and Yelena go undercover to the Siberian prison that holds the Red Guardian and feel like it makes more sense than just turning it into an action set piece. Jessica Jones Season 1. Well, this one has a major blight against it, but overall, I remember very, very clearly that Season 1 of Jessica Jones is the best season of it. I'd probably rather rewatch Doctor Strange. But I don't hate Jessica Jones. It does get weighed down a little bit, though, by Season 2 and 3, which I don't remember which icon is which. Jessica Jones Season 2. Okay, so the one where she's sitting down. Jessica Jones Season 2 is total bunk. I don't like Season 2 of Jessica Jones. I would probably rather rewatch anything above Captain Marvel before I'd rewatch Jessica Jones Season 2. That probably wasn't a very coherent string of sentences and thoughts, but hopefully you understand. Jessica Jones Season 3 was also pretty bad, but it wasn't nearly as bad as Season 2 was. I guess I'd rather rewatch Amazing Spider-Man 2 before Jessica Jones Season 3, only because I can see the potential that Trish and the Hellcat stuff could have had if they had done it right, and Amazing Spider-Man 2 at least has the Hans Zimmer Spider-Man theme in it. Something of value, right? I know I'm going out of order, but Thor Love and Thunder is by far the thing I am least interested in watching, and that's because my younger brother said that when he watched it in theaters, he literally got sick to his stomach as a result of watching it. And no, he was not sick. It was just so bad, it caused an upswell of physical revulsion in his person. And because I am basically the older version of my brother, as I am the older brother of the two of us, I feel like I don't want to tempt fate. Luke Cage Season 1. Okay, Luke Cage Season 1 wasn't terrible. I'd probably rather rewatch Blade. I'm just gonna say everything above it is above it for a reason, but I put it above Blade 2 because, I don't know, I really like the guy they got to play Luke Cage. And Misty Knight was very interesting. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it, I'm sorry. Iron Fist Season 1, I believe. Is that what it is? Yeah. Iron Fist Season 1 1 was bad. I didn't even technically watch the whole thing because the website that I was very legally using didn't have the last like 15 minutes of the season finale for season 1. I'm gonna put it over Captain Marvel, but that's literally the only thing keeping it from going any lower, and that's because I really did not like Captain Marvel movie. WandaVision, I'm like half interested in watching. I would say that's probably the thing that I'm most interested in watching after Big Hero 6. Just because it has Paul Bettany's vision in it, and I think Paul Bettany's vision's actually pretty good. Unfortunately, from what I understand, Elizabeth Olsen doesn't lose her top for any sustained period of time in the series, which does knock it down substantially in my level of interest, but, oh, that's right, it also has...
If you won't let us go, just let us die.
As well as...
You've taken an entire town hostage.
Well, I'm not the one with the guns, Director.
Okay.
So, if for nothing else but memes and Paul Bettany's vision, I put it underneath Big Hero 6 in terms of my interest in watching it. Okay, Multiverse of Madness is going directly to the bottom. It was so bad. The fact that Sam Raimi's name is attached to it does not save it, and really, I feel bad for Sam Raimi. I know he probably did what he could, but Wakanda Forever, I think? Is that what it is? Yeah, Wakanda Forever, I'm not interested. It's not as bad as some of this stuff, but I really just don't have any interest in watching it. Guardians Volume 3 is massively imperfect, mostly due to the knock-on effect of time travel being introduced in Avengers Endgame and being poorly written as a general rule. But James Gunn salvaged it to the extent that he probably feasibly could. I'd probably rather rewatch it than most of this stuff. Maybe not as much as Doctor Strange or Jessica Jones Season 1, but it wasn't horrible. I was also rather surprised by what they did with Drax. I felt like the movie put some respect on Drax that I wasn't anticipating them to do. The Marvels, I am really not interested in watching that. I imagine this is even worse than Thor Love and Thunder, but my brother didn't even go to see it, so I have no idea. Madam Web, I'm really not interested in watching. Let There Be Carnage is more interesting to me. I'm more interested in watching that very, very, very legally. Deadpool and Wolverine, it was bad, but it was entertaining. You know, I think I'd rather watch Rise of the Silver Surfer, but this was, I think, the last thing that I went to a movie theater to see in regards to Marvel, as of the time of recording this video, but I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. Venom: The Last Dance, I am supremely not interested in seeing this, but I put it over Wakanda Forever. Traven, I think I'm more interested in watching this than Madam Web. That's all that really can be said. Captain America New World Order, I'm sorry, Brave New World. See, I haven't even seen it. All I remember is the old title. Not really all that interested in watching it. I mean, I guess it's got Red Hulk in it, so maybe I'm mildly interested, but I feel like Black Widow, I rewrote that one scene, which involves Scarlett Johansson and Florence Pugh going topless. So I guess I'm more interested in watching Black Widow than Brave New World. I know that's a really, really, really bizarre reason to go that route for ranking stuff, but we're in the I haven't watched it, am I interested or not, which is a binary set of tiers right now. Thunderbolts, I guess I'm mildly interested. My brother said it was okay. I'm more interested in watching it for understanding the Sentry within it, because I think the Sentry is a decent Hulk antagonist. I don't want to say villain, because Bob is not a villain, but I'm curious as to the general concepts that my brother kind of outlined to me, because he did, I think, see it. Quantumania, I am not interested in watching, not even a little bit. Man, this wears me out. I have multiple sclerosis. I'm not built for this. First Steps, as of the time of recording, I think it came out like a month ago. I'm really not that interested in watching this. I'm more interested in watching Daredevil Born Again first, and that assumes that I will even watch it. Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I'm not interested in watching. I'm a little bit more interested in watching it than Wakanda Forever, but not by much. Iron Fist Season 2, where did I even put Iron Fist Season 1? Iron Fist Season 2 2 was honestly probably just as bad as Captain Marvel, but obviously the mediums are a little bit different. I don't know, man. No matter how long this video ends up, I've been recording for 2 hours straight. Cut me some slack. Loki Season 1, I'm vaguely interested in watching this, just because I'm curious what they did with it, and a former co-worker of mine, Paul, he liked it and he recommended it. I don't understand how it could be recommendable. He really didn't strike me as having taste that really meshed with mine. He had positive things to say about Neil Gaiman, okay? The Defenders, it was pretty bad. I'm gonna put it over Blade Trinity. I'm gonna put it over Jessica Jones Season 3. You know, I think I'll just put it at the top of trash. At least it's got Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in it, and Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones. I'm running out of things to say here. I've been recording for 2 hours, okay? Okay, this is the only thing that is gonna go into this tier that I know of. I watched like the first 7 episodes of Season 2 of Luke Cage before it got taken off of Netflix. That should tell you when I watched it. But for some reason or another, I just never finished it. I was really interested in, I think his name is Bushwhacker, the guy with the really thick Jamaican accent. I was really interested. I wanted to see where that went, and I just never finished it, and I haven't found the time since. Agent Carter, I'm not interested in watching this. Like, it's a pretty low bar when I consider Venom to be more interesting. Also, actress Haley Atwell's got 2 substantial reasons that I would want to watch it, but as far as I know, Agent Carter never, you know, strips down or anything, so can I really be blamed for not having a whole lot of interest knowing that? She-Hulk, I'm actually vaguely interested, I feel like, but only because I know how absolutely abhorrent and bad it is. Actually, you know what? I take that back. I'm more interested in watching Black Widow, but I am interested in watching it more than everything else, so I don't know. Agatha all along, however you pronounce it. I really don't care about this. Like, that's probably the thing that I'm least interested in watching. What even is that? Oh, this is the Secret Invasion. I heard how bad they messed that up. But no, Agatha is still less interesting to me. I don't care. The only reason I would care is if that actress, like, went topless for an entire episode and that was it. I'd probably be like, oh, okay, now I'm interested. Moon Knight. I'm actually interested in watching Moon Knight, not because anyone says that it's good, but because it seems not as terrible as everything else. I'm more interested in watching it than I am really everything except for WandaVision, I think. Agent Carter Season 2, I'm just gonna put that right next to Agent Carter Season 1. I don't know why I even put it on the tier list, to be 100% honest. Ironheart, like, it's so bad that it actually kind of interests me in a weird sort of way. I'm not gonna say I'm more interested watching it, though, than Thor Love and Thunder, because such a scathing review as the one that I got from my brother about Love and Thunder at least piques my interest a little bit. And really the only reason I'm interested in watching Ironheart at all in any respect is that it's connected to the Iron Man kind of nexus. So, and I feel like Riri Williams is fertile ground for a substantial rewrite, which I do enjoy doing. What If, I'm not interested. I'm even less interested in watching that than I am Agatha all along, honestly. Hawkeye, I'm actually kind of interested in watching Hawkeye. Maybe not as much as Daredevil Born Again, and I would have to understand it in order to understand Daredevil Born Again, I think, from what I know. So maybe that makes sense. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, I am, like, supremely not interested in watching this. I'm gonna put it above Secret Invasion for the following reason. Don't have one. Miss Marvel, I'm actually kind of interested in watching. Just because, much like with Ironheart, I think she's semi-fertile ground for substantial rewrites. In fact, I'm gonna go so far as to say I'm probably more interested in watching Ms. Marvel than Fantastic Four First Step. And I think I can probably attribute that to the fact that Pedro Pascal is not in it, and the actress for Ms. Marvel seems like she's really good at what she does and she actually cares. And that motivates me tremendously. She's also kind of cute. I don't even know what these are. Loki Season 2. I know I ranked Season 1 as interesting, but I'm not really in much of a rush to watch Season 2 of Loki. Honestly, I'll say Ironheart actually interests me more. The Marvels is kind of in a class of its own in that respect, and that I really don't want to watch that. I'm kind of interested in watching the Inhumans, just because I don't really know know a whole lot about them. I feel like I'm more interested in watching Moon Knight just because of the large number of things that I could potentially expose myself to and learn through it. Inhumans, I'm just not really seeing the vision necessarily. Oh, wait, no, everything I just said about the Inhumans, that was actually the Runaways. And really, everything south of the Runaways, I'm really just not interested in watching. But the Inhumans, where did I have them? Right here, I think, right? So everything that I just said about the Runaways until I realized that I was talking about the Inhumans instead of the Runaways applies to the Inhumans, duh. I'm not really big on fantasy stuff, kind of like Game of Thrones, which is, from my understanding, what the Inhumans really should be. But I also know it's a TV series, so it probably wasn't that great on that front. Cloak and Dagger, that's probably the thing I'm the least interested in, like, overall. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay, I actually did watch this. So, the second half of that one season where they did the Agents of Hydra, like, I'd rather watch Thor: The Dark World. That's really the only thing I can even think about it. But the half of the season that had Robbie Reyes and the Ghost Rider was actually kind of good. Not great, but good. So much so, I think I'm gonna put it at the top of forgettable. Because I do remember one or two moments with the Robbie Reyes Ghost Rider, but I don't remember literally anything else. Also, I legitimately don't even know what that's supposed to be. What even is that? It's Marvel, clearly. Can you tell I'm just getting sick of the tier list being as extensive as it is? What even was that? Is that? Echo. No wonder I didn't recognize it. Honestly, that one goes at the very, 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 very bottom. And just because I'm sick and tired and I just want to lay down and take a nap before I have to leave the house later, I have technically, well, you know what? I'm already here. Please let my suffering end. It's a good thing I do this for me mostly, because considering how little feedback I get on all these videos, despite all the effort I put in, I also watched both seasons of The Punisher show. Punisher season 1 really bothered me, but it does have one moment that I can think of off the top of my head that I really liked, but it also has Agent Madani, who I really, really didn't like. I'd probably rather rewatch it than everything except for New Mutants. So everything below New Mutants, I'd rather watch Punisher season 1, but I can't really say the same for season 2. Or well, maybe I'm gonna put it right next to season 1 because the show didn't really change a whole lot. It all kind of blended together. I really liked the subplot with the girl whose name escapes me, Amy Bendis, I feel. I'm probably wrong. No one probably watched the video this long to even notice or care. But yeah, no, so this is my massive tier list of stuff that I have watched from the Marvel Media Nexus. And obviously, there might be things missing in the stuff that I haven't watched, but I guess you could even consider that to be a tier of non-existence beyond the stuff that's in the rest of the tier list. So, yeah, that was a nightmare. It's gonna be a nightmare to edit because this video is currently sitting at 2 hours and 15 minutes and 22 seconds as of the time I just said that. So, when is it gonna come out? Is it gonna come out? I don't know. Things have been really rough for me lately, and I haven't really had a whole lot of motivation to sit down and record any videos. Of course, it would figure that the second I find any motivation or any energy or willpower to sit down and record something, I end up recording something 2 hours long. But just because I did spend these 2 hours doing this, I'll probably go through the painstaking, arduous task of editing it, and it will probably come out, and it probably won't come out for a few months. Also, in the random rant that I mentioned earlier in this video, I wrote 2 pages of notes for another video that I have to record at some point in the near future, but I just haven't found the energy and I don't really know what to say. Off the top, I mean. Obviously I have notes, but anyway, I'm not gonna drag this on too much longer. Again, please follow the guidance of any of the road signs at the bottom of the video, just to validate the fact that I sat down and talked as long as I did about this subject / numerous subjects. So I would appreciate that. But otherwise, guys, I'm gonna go downstairs and take a nap because multiple sclerosis fatigue and recording videos for multiple hours at a time is stressful. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Take it easy, and until next time, I will catch you on the flip side.
Think of all those men out there. Think of all the harm they've done.